Betty, all for having us here. Love this group. It's been a while since I've spoken with you, and it looks like it's grown a little bit tonight, so congratulations on that. Yeah, we're in a runoff, so this election, I got 49.97% of the vote, so I was 3/100ths away from avoiding the runoff. So we're going to be voting May 28th, so we got a little ways to go. We'll get to the city elections first. But I'm Ram Henderson. I'm your two-term sheriff, seeking my third term. I've been proudly serving you here since 1994. I started with the sheriff's office right out of college. So I worked at the penitentiary when I was in college, put myself through school. And upon graduation, I went to the police academy here at the sheriff's office and started as a patrol deputy in 1994. So I'm working on my 30th year for the sheriff's office. So I started as a cadet in May of '94 and promoted through the ranks as a corporal, as a sergeant, a first line supervisor, a lieutenant, which is a mid-manager at the agency, captain, which was a full division manager of patrol and the jail both. And then I had the honor of being elected sheriff by you in 2016. So that's an office that I've held and truly enjoyed serving you, serving the community, and keeping you all safe. I worship at the Presbyterian Church. I'm a lifetime member of the Presbyterian Church. My family and I have grown up in that church. I started, I got confirmed in 1983. So it's been a long time, a lifelong Presbyterian. And the sheriff's office is a complicated animal. I mean, there's a lot going on there. Most people don't know, I have 1,030 employees. I have a jail that holds 1,253 inmates.
Wow.
Our county has about 600,000 people in it. It's a big job, and it's not one that you want to turn over to somebody that doesn't have the experience to do it. So not only do I have the experience to do it, I've been doing it for 2 terms. I'm proud to announce some of my endorsements. So they've come out recently. Excuse me, I should have gotten a glass of water. But I recently got the endorsement of Governor Greg Abbott. And I already had the endorsement before the runoff, before the primary election, of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. So those are pretty cool. And I tell you, there's more to come. One of the things I'm most proud of is my endorsement from Sheriff Richard Mack, because I am your constitutional sheriff in Montgomery County, Texas. So people ask, what does that mean? That means I'm going to stand up for your rights should the federal government or anyone else encroach upon your liberties. And I've proven that. So I was given an awful opportunity to prove that I'm your constitutional sheriff through COVID. So the mandates came down from the federal government, the mandates came down from the state government, and we were told that you had to wear a mask. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. That helps. So we were told that y'all had to wear a mask. We were told that we were supposed to cite you. We were told that you were supposed to arrest you if you went to Walmart and you were trespassing without a mask on. Well, through my leadership and the directives given to my agency and my deputies, not a single citation was written and not a single arrest was made for any kind of mask. So if there were ever an unfortunate circumstance where the federal government said that I had to come take your gun or violate your Second Amendment rights or any of your constitutional rights, I'm the guy that's going to stand up for you and ensure that liberty reigns supreme. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all? Thank y'all for hosting this event, giving us a platform to talk this evening. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you to our police officers and to our military veterans that are here tonight. Thank y'all for your service to our country. Most of all, thank you to you folks that are here tonight to hear us speak and talk about our platform, what we plan to do for Montgomery County. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank my wife, Sherry, for being here tonight. We've been married for 20 years, and she's been here with me every step of the way along this campaign. I take this seriously. We talked about our endorsements and things like that. I just today was endorsed by Sheriff Joe Aparo. So he endorsed me, and he's a constitutional sheriff that has done great things against illegal immigration in our country. I want y'all to know that I'll be strong against illegal immigration, and I will also protect your constitutional rights. Matter of fact, I'm the only candidate that's ever put someone in jail for violating someone's constitutional rights. So I think that's not just a statement, that's something very important. I demonstrate that through action. Our community has demanded change in the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Our incumbent Rand was not able to get 51% of the vote, or 50+1 during the primary. That's a great signal that we need change here. Most of y'all believe in term limits. You believe that a fresh perspective is good. I come to you from the Texas Department of Public Safety. I'm a captain at the Precinct 1 Constable's Office. I've got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in criminal justice, and I've got a great deal of experience. I worked 5 years in the Texas Highway Patrol serving citizens of Texas. I worked 4 years as a narcotics sergeant, and I went down to the Texas-Mexico border, and I actually worked on the border. I put drug cartel members in the federal penitentiary and organized criminals and led multi-agency, multi-million-dollar investigations, and been fiscally responsible with those by leading investigations, not where I had power over people, but I had authority. They worked with me because they trusted me. And that's something that's very important. You can be given power, or you can earn respect and authority, and people will follow you. If not, you're just somebody's out for a walk in the park without any followers.
Amen.
That's true. I'll tell you that after working successfully in the Narcotics Division DPS, I promoted to the Texas Rangers, where I spent 13 years working for you at the state level all across Southeast Texas, all over Texas, and I've worked in other states, chasing violent criminals who have done homicides and done violence against people that live within our community here in Montgomery County. I worked here in the Sheriff's Office for 4 years when Sheriff Gage was here. Sheriff Gage has endorsed my campaign. Along with Sheriff Joe Corley, and along with my Constable Philip Cash. True lawmen, not politicians. You can get all the state and federal level endorsements you want, but if they have not walked a mile in a policeman's shoes or served as a policeman, they probably do not know what they need to do to protect this community. I do, because I have an experience. I didn't just show up here either. I've heard people say that Wesley Doolittle just showed up in Montgomery County. My family's been here for almost 200 years. I'd say we just showed up 200 years ago. I grew up in East Montgomery County, attended schools in Splendora. I graduated from Cleveland High School, and I served as a highway patrolman right there working in Liberty and Montgomery counties, where I served in Cleveland and Tomball as a state trooper. And I know this community, I know our values, I know the people that live here. I've also heard people say, well, Wesley doesn't have any management experience. I've been a senior manager at the constable's office for 1.5 years, where I've successfully led the men and women of the Montgomery County Precinct 1 Constable's Office, overseeing 4 divisions for Constable Cash. And that's something that if you talk to the deputies that work for me, they'll tell you that they're satisfied, they're happy with my leadership. Just yesterday, I helped talk an armed individual that was thinking about contemplating killing himself, who fired off a round in his house that needed help. I helped negotiate that person out of the house to safety and got them to a high level of care. Because I served as a crisis negotiator. I served as a leader on major criminal investigations and at major crime scenes. I'm asking for your vote to lead the men and women of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. We've had a lot of turnover. This community's demanded change, and the morale has been bad. We also need someone who's forward-thinking and addresses the issues that we're facing within our community to properly serve you, to make sure that we're actually reducing crime. If you've looked at my website, doolittleforsheriff.com, all my statistics are reported on there from the FBI and the state of Texas. Crime's doubled in Montgomery County under this administration, and we cannot afford another 4 years to let it double again. I'm asking for your vote and your support in this runoff. I thank y'all very much.
We have 2 microphones back here. They're dead right now, but I'll put them on live. We're going to have time for 2, at most 3 questions. If you have a question that addresses issues not personalities or anything like that. If you have a question that addresses issues that you would like to hear an answer from both of these candidates, would you please indicate? Okay, there's one right there, and if you would, I'm gonna hand you the mic. Okay.
Hello, I'm Herschel Williams, Precinct 63 in Walden. There's been quite a bit of talk about 911 calls and which ones are fulfilled. And I talked to Chip Van Steenberg. Yes, thank you. I get in trouble with that one. 93% of the calls to the sheriff's office are answered in, or 93% of those calls are answered in 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
The goal for the state is 90%. So we're exceeding that goal by 3%. 94% of the calls to the sheriff's office are answered in the first 20 seconds. So the goal for that is 95%, so we're short one. And the question is, how can we improve that?
Who would like to be the first one to answer that?
No, I don't mind talking about it.
Wait, put my hand, the microphone. I'm in a mic.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so we did, my campaign did an open records request to Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office, after watching budget last year. The dispatcher come forward, we also had some talk between Rand and the manager at 911 about positions and funding. During that time, we found that we were 17 dispatchers short in the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. About 58 people total work there, we were 17 short, which puts us in a nearly crisis mode when it comes to staffing. I'll tell you that they missed it's nearly 33,000 911 calls last year alone. And over the last 5 years, they missed 155,000 911 calls, which in my opinion shows it's a chronic issue. That's enough calls for everybody in this room, everybody you know, everybody you work with, everybody you're related to, everybody lives in your neighborhood to not get their call answered. One missed call is not acceptable. The National Emergency Number Association standards are not being met at the Sheriff's Office. They've been met a couple times, but until we get staffing levels up and retain them people in order to answer your calls, we're gonna continue to have issues. I don't think there's anybody in this room that wants to call 911 when you're in crisis or have an emergency and that call not get answered. So those things are very concerning to me. I think that we need to improve the morale within the agency. We also need to properly staff the 911 operators, and we need to ask for more personnel. We need to pay them what they're worth. We need to honor them and give them all the tools they need to do their job to make sure that your calls are being answered and that you're being served the way you expect to be served. And I'll do that for you as your sheriff. I've already been up to 911. I've already talked with 911 operators. Several of them support my campaign. And I'm glad to have them on our team. And I thank them for stepping forward and putting themselves in the light and bringing attention to the things that we have in our community. So I'd like the opportunity to fix that.
Well, there's a lot of things going on with that question, and there's a lot of things not going on with that answer. He really gave no answer to that question. So he's identified a problem by creating a problem. We're answering our 911 calls. He didn't refer to page 2 of the report that he got that says that every one of these calls that's made, a dispatcher, everyone that's missed, a dispatcher calls them back. And if they can't get a hold of somebody, they dispatch a deputy as a welfare check. We ran about 27,000 welfare check calls last year dealing with this, dealing with the 911 hang-up calls. Somebody in this room has probably recently accidentally called 911 and went, oh no, I called 911, there's a hand up, there's a hand up. Yep. And they hung up. Y'all are part of the number that he's trying to screw the crap out of you with. Wow. It's not real. How many, if you see a major wreck on the freeway, how many calls do you think go to 911 about the exact same incident? Yep. So this is nothing but a scare tactic. Your 911 calls are absolutely being answered. And I'm proud, he mentioned the guy that endorsed him, the guy that I replaced, never added a dispatcher in his 12 years of office. Wow. Never added a one. My first year in office, I added 10. And yeah, they're difficult to hire. It's a difficult job. There's a lot of stress. You live in your mind's eye. You can imagine some of the horrible things that they hear that they translate into their nightmares. Yep. So yeah, it's a tough job. Retention is difficult. We've increased pay exponentially. We created a longevity program for communications under my administration, and we created certificate bonuses. We've got bilingual pay now. All things that were added during my administration. So I will say that the guy that says he's not a politician is absolutely being a politician with you right now. Don't believe the lies.
So we're going to ask to just have another question. Did you have one from the audience call?
Yes, what is your plan, or how do you plan on keeping Montgomery County citizens safe from the illegal immigrant development in Liberty County?
Yes, Liberty County.
Colony Ridge.
Colony Ridge. So this is the guy that continues to take money from Liberty County, the guy that continues to take so much money from Harris County. And yes, he has taken money from the Colony Ridge developers. So the Colony Ridge development has been sued by both the Department of Justice and our state attorney general for deceptive lending practices. And it's a mess. So part of the goal is to keep that issue out of Montgomery County. We've already dealt with it. The Colony Ridge subdivision started as Kings Colony in Montgomery County, and it's been an absolute nightmare. So we had to work through raw sewage. We had to work through unpaved roads. We had to work through school buses that went around the roads into the ditches because those were better than the roads that they were driving on. So illegal immigration is something that I have battled back against ever since I've come into office. I have a strategic plan with 3 overarching goals and 16 strategies used to accomplish those goals. And under goal 1, we have illegal immigration is one of those issues. So my first year in office in 2017, I became a 287G sheriff, which means that I have credentialing, my jailers have credentialing through ICE to know everybody that comes into the jail, their immigration status before they're released. And if we can deport them, we deport them. Under my administration, we have deported about 1,000 inmates during the time that I've been in office in my 7 years. So I'm doing my part, everything I can. I got the governor's endorsement not because he's a politician, but because we're both working together hand in hand to fight the fentanyl crisis that's coming across the border. We're working together to fight all the illegal immigration with human smuggling and human trafficking coming across the border. That's why I got the endorsement, because I'm advancing good public safety in Montgomery County. And our vision is to be the role model for public safety services in the state of Texas. And it's yet another example of how we're leading. Other counties, other jurisdictions want to be like us. They want to copy us because we're doing things so well. And our pushback on the illegal immigration is a great example of that. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You know, Kings Colony is right here in Montgomery County. They haven't done anything about it. So his stance on being strong on that ought to be questioned by you about rhetoric and talk about being a politician. It's thriving here in Montgomery County, and we're not doing anything about it. So I'll tell you, Colony Ridge is in Liberty County. I work with Sheriff Rader. I have 2 friends that are highway patrol sergeants that are working in that community right now that I've worked with in Texas Highway Patrol. They're saying that problem over there is a growth problem. I worked drug cartels in Plum Grove in 2006 when I was a narcotics sergeant. It's nothing new to our community. There are drug cartels right here in Montgomery County. There are drug cartels in Liberty County. We're going to be fighting them just like we have been since the 80s. It's a continuous problem that we work with. I'm the only one here who's worked narcotics, and I've done so successfully. Prosecuted cartel members and put them in a federal penitentiary and testified in federal court. I have the experience testifying state and federal court. He doesn't have that. I'll tell you that I've worked hard to keep our community safe, working with our state, local, and federal partners. I'm also going to tell you that if y'all want to talk about the Colony Ridge stuff, Mr. Harris is back here. One of Mr. Henderson's deputies assaulted him several years ago, and he failed to do anything about it, which speaks about his character. You can fix man's problems, you can fix things in a department like shortages and things like that, but you can't fix the leader's character. That's something that I would question and I've continued to question about his leadership. So I'll tell y'all, I had a fundraiser. I did receive some money at an auction from the Harrison Lane families. I'll tell you, that's less than 1% of what I raised in my campaign. I've raised over $550,000. No matter what somebody donates to my campaign, all it's gonna get them is a good sheriff. My integrity is not for sale. I have demonstrated that time and time again by making good decisions that would make you folks proud. I've worked in at least 80 police agencies going in to fix major problems that affect our community, sometimes at night, weekends, things like that. These things affect our communities, and making the right decision at that time is what's absolutely necessary in order to have your trust and know that the decisions being made by that leader are good ones. They're ethical. We talked about the Bible, right? Something you'd be proud of. Christian decisions, things like that that are right and wrong just on their face surface. We have to have a leader in our office that can do that for you, and I'm asking that you elect me to do that. I will not disappoint you, and I'll hang around if y'all got any questions for these guys back here or for myself. Please see me after we get done speaking, and I'll clear up any of the wrongs that have been done against me. It's for someone to defame a good man's name without talking to them is not right. And I hope that any man or woman in this room would like the opportunity to defend themselves and talk to somebody and have evidence brought forward for them to look at, evaluate, and make decisions. So I thank y'all for that question.